If you guys have been following this channel for a little bit, you may have heard me mention a game known as Dauntless. It's been in beta on PC for a while, but the full version is going to be released next week, and it is arriving on the PlayStation 4 as well, and it's coming to a bunch of other platforms. It's coming to mobile, as well as Nintendo Switch down the line, but it's a game that I'm incredibly excited for, and when this game was originally announced, there was actually a lot of excitement for Dauntless. Unfortunately, as we talk a little bit about the game, you'll realize that there's a lot of resemblance and a lot of similarities that you can point to Dauntless having to Monster Hunter World. Now, Monster Hunter World was actually announced after the revelation of Dauntless. However, it's not like a lot of people actually do their research and realize which game was announced first, which game was revealed first, whatever the case may be. So a lot of people looking at Dauntless in 2019 are just thinking, hey, is this just a Monster Hunter World ripoff? Why would I buy this game if Monster Hunter World is already out? Well, in actuality, Dauntless was announced first, and don't just think of it as a Monster Hunter World ripoff. Yes, there's a lot of similarities, but there's been a lot of these big monster hunting games, and Dauntless definitely has its own unique style, and that's what we're going to be looking at in this video. Specifically, I'm going to be going over a lot of information about Dauntless. Now, this isn't a game I really have to sell you on, because at the end of the day, it is a free-to-play experience. You guys are going to be able to play the game free come May 21st. Now, of course, if you do want to invest real-world money into the game, you can do that as well, just like with any other free-to-play offering. But nonetheless, let's get right into it, and I always like to give you guys a little bit of insight on the development studio, and there's actually quite a bit to digest when you look at the studio Phoenix Labs, the studio that's behind Dauntless. Phoenix Labs was actually formed by former Riot Games developers, the guys that you guys would know for League of Legends, the specific developers being Jesse Houston, Sean Bender, and Robin Bain, and the studio has expanded quite a bit, and there's a lot of developers that are formerly of other major studios such as BioWare, Blizzard Entertainment, and Capcom. Most would probably consider it to be a relatively small studio compared to the AAA studios that they left. However, Houston also specifically said that they are positioned in a way to offer, quote, a new unique approach to crafting AAA experiences. Dauntless will be the studio's first release, and it was heavily inspired as well as frequently compared to Capcom's Monster Hunter series, and of course it was frequently compared to Capcom's Monster Hunter, and considering the studio has some former Capcom employees, you can see where some of the resemblances are coming from. Now, that's not necessarily a bad resemblance, because that means that this is going to be a game that you can sink an obscene number of hours into. I always seem to talk about value out of your dollar, and when you can get a lot of gameplay for not even spending any money, hey, that's pretty good. The developers themselves have a collective 6,000 hours in various Monster Hunter titles, so the experience is definitely there, and Dauntless was also influenced by games such as Dark Souls and World of Warcraft, so it definitely takes ideas from a lot of other games, but it marries them, and it does become its own unique, compelling experience. I don't want to constantly draw resemblances to other games because it does offer something fresh and interesting in its own regard, and it can stand on its own two legs. Dauntless has a pretty standard setting. It takes place in a fantasy world. A cataclysmic event has torn that world apart, releasing monstrous creatures into the world known as behemoths. Behemoths are all around, and they prey on the surviving humans that are left on the world. You yourself take on the role of slayers, and of course, you'll be tasked to actually take down the behemoths. You'll be collecting loot that they use to craft and upgrade weapons and equipment as to take down larger and more powerful behemoths, and that's how the game progresses. You beat one behemoth, get better equipment, onto the next behemoth, so on and so forth, and they get progressively more and more difficult. Throughout the game, while hunting, the game plays as a third-person action game, and the player uses a combo system to attack the creature while monitoring their own health and stamina gauge. There is quite a bit of nuances to the game, and a little bit of strategy is going to be necessary as well. The depth is definitely there when you talk about the gameplay, and the hunts themselves can take upwards of 20 minutes of in-game time to complete, so not sizable in length, but there's going to be a lot of different hunts and a lot of replayability, so there's that. And while this is a free-to-play game that is centric on the multiplayer, the game can be played both as a single-player experience or cooperatively with up to 4 people. Now, just generally speaking on games like this, I would highly recommend you to play with a group of friends. And being that this is a free-to-play experience, come on, you can at least sell a couple of friends to at least download the game and give it a shot with you, because that's how you're really going to get the best experience possible. If you're playing it solo, I'm sure you can have a standard experience and have an okay time with it, but really the game's qualities are going to be accentuated when you play a couple of friends. That's just necessarily the case when games offer, yes, you can play the game solo, but you can also play it with up to 4 people. Generally speaking, it's a better experience when you play with up to 4 people, so just be mindful of that fact. And of course, I mentioned earlier that the point of the game is to hunt these big giant behemoths, and there's going to be a litany and variety of different behemoths. They themselves are massive hulking beasts that spread throughout the Shattered Isles, and they seem to be naturally occurring, though this has always been in question. They feed off the land by consuming aether and grow increasingly stronger as they consume that. Again, there's a variety of different behemoths. There's Blaze behemoths in the Embermane, Helion. There's Frost behemoths in Boreas, Pangar, Shock behemoths in Drask and Stormclaw, Terra behemoths in Skarn. There's Neutral behemoths, Umbral behemoths, and Radiant behemoths. There's so many to go over. Just know that you have a wide variety of different behemoths to hunt. That'll always keep the game relatively fresh, and also be mindful of the fact that Phoenix Labs is incredibly committed to this game, so expect consistent updates that are not only going to feature gameplay refinement and more content, but overall a progression of the game and making the game better. Another big element of the game is Dauntless's mastery system. The mastery system is filled with objectives for Slayers to complete as they hone their skills with different weaponry and hunt the behemoths of the Shattered Isles. As you gain mastery while naturally playing the game, your Slayer level will also increase. As your Slayer level increases, so will your effectiveness, which increases health, stamina, and various perks. Just natural in-game progression, but they do it in a pretty compelling and engaging way. The Slayer levels can go on, and you do start at level 1, and as you gain Slayer levels, you'll get extra rewards. For example, Slayer level 2 will give you a consumable slot. Slayer level 3 will give you a Bronze Slayer core. Number 4 will give you a third consumable slot. Once you get to level 6, you'll get your max gear level plus 4, level 8 max gear level plus 5, and so on and so forth, and then it just grows and grows and grows. For example, at Slayer level 31, your max health will increase by 60. At Slayer level 41, max health will increase by 100. Slayer level 45, you'll get a Gold Slayer core. And at level 50, you will get the title of Slayer Master. And then there's Behemoth Mastery as well, and that'll increase, and you'll get a lot of rewards and a lot of incentives. And then you have Sword Mastery. Once again, you'll start off by getting basic rewards, such as level 1, you'll get 250 rams, level 2, 250 rams, but then you'll go on and on. At level 16, you get the Perpetual Blade core, and you'll get cool stuff along the way. There's Axe Mastery, Hammer Mastery, Warpike Mastery, Chain Blades Mastery, Repeaters Mastery. So the weapons have their progression system as well. So in terms of investment, if you really want to get everything out of Dauntless and experience everything, it's going to be a massive time sink, just like the majority of free-to-play titles and just like Monster Hunter as well. And speaking of weapons, that is of course a big element of Dauntless. Every weapon belongs to one of 3 weapon types, and each of those types boasts pros and cons to their capabilities in battle. You've got axes, those sever and break behemoth parts and deal bonus damage to wounded parts. Chain blades, that severs and breaks behemoth parts and deals bonus damage to wounded parts. Hammer, that deals very high stagger damage and can break behemoth parts. Repeater severs and breaks behemoth parts and deals bonus damage to wounded parts. You've got sword, severs and breaks behemoth parts and deals bonus damage to wounded parts. You've got war pikes, wounds behemoth parts, enabling bonus damage for cutting weapons. And then you have damage types as well with slashing and piercing, and then elemental types as well with blaze power, shock power, frost power, umbral power, and radiant power. And what you'll notice is that's directly crossing over with a lot of the behemoths themselves and the different abilities that they have. And the variety doesn't just stop at the weapons. Customizability is a big element of Dauntless, and creating your character is just the beginning of your legend in the Shattered Isles. Discovering your favorite weapons, forging armor, building bonds with other Slayers, dyeing your gear, and even finding the perfect emote to round it out, it's all a part of forging your legend within the game. The game also features the cells game. Each weapon and piece of armor has a number of cells that you can socket, and some cells are exclusive to certain weapon and armor types. Augmenting your weapons, armors, and lanterns will allow you to become even more like the behemoths that you slay. Cells empower you to go beyond cosmetic customization so you can personalize the way you slay. Want to focus on damage and go hard? Want to turn your weapon into an elemental powerhouse? Want to shape the way that you support other Slayers? There are cells that and every blend in between. These customizations make subtle changes to the way you hunt and the way you interact with your hunting party, but understand that because of this, the gameplay has an incredible amount of depth to it, and you can tailor your experience exactly how you want to, and that makes the game very replayable as well if you want to go back in, create a new character, and once again tailor that character to a completely different playstyle. You'll have the option to do that as well. That's a lot of the general information about the game. I also do want to note that launching alongside the game is the Season 5 Hunt Pass dubbed Hidden Blade, similar to something like Fortnite's Seasonal Battle Pass. Dauntless's Hunt Pass gives holders a chance to unlock special cosmetic items and other rewards with this Season Pass. The Shattered Isle will receive a makeover for the Moon Blossom Festival, and there will be an assortment of ninja-themed gear to earn. It's just something if you do enjoy your time with the game, if you do want to invest some real-world money and get some more content out of the game, you always have the option to do that. And outside of that, with the game officially launching next week, all of the features and gameplay improvements that Phoenix Labs introduced recently as a part of the game's open beta, that is going to be present in the final game, including the improved mastery system and everything else that the game has to offer. So once again, it's a free-to-play game. I can go on and on about Dauntless because it's a game with an incredible amount of depth to it. However, I thought I was able to give you a general idea of what to expect come May 21st. Even if you guys aren't completely sold on it, you really don't have to be because it is a free-to-play play title and it's worth investing a little bit of time into. And at the very least, I think everybody should invest a little bit of time into, get a couple of friends, and you can have the best experience possible. That's gonna conclude this video. Let us know, are you excited for Dauntless? Are you gonna check it out on May 21st? Or is this one that you're gonna pass on for the time being? Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.